Welcome to the Big Messy Bun, episode 49. You guys, today we're going to pick up where we left off on episode 48, and we're going to talk about your big, beautiful life and what that looks like. I often say on the podcast to be going for the thing. And sometimes you guys write me in and say, I don't know what my thing is. And listen, you don't have to have a specific thing. And if you don't know what your project is, I invite you to take this episode from episode 49 to whatever number and make you your thing. I don't know if you can hear Charlie in the background, but she is currently making this her thing. So I'm going to just walk away. If you're on YouTube, you're going to see me leave the screen. If you're with me on the audio experience, I'm taking a walk out to my kitchen to grab a container of bones to give my spoilt rotten dog. Now, I just got off the phone with a friend. She quickly FaceTimed me. She is a member of my fitness community. She's also a friend and a client of mine. And I just got off the phone with her. And when I FaceTime somebody, my dog, I don't even want to say her name at this point, she does this. She barks until she gets her way. So she gets a bone if I'm on Zoom. She gets a bone if I FaceTime. And yes, she's getting a bone right now on the podcast. So guys, we're coming back though. When I was talking to my friend, though, she just called me to say she wasn't going to be at class and that work is nuts, like super, super crazy right now. And she just is having a hard time getting away from work. And I said to her, oh my God, you're going to love this week's episode because it's about self-care and it's about making you the thing. And on top of that, I'm going to be very realistic. I am going to be so realistic. And I told her this. I said, I'm going to share with you tips for when life is fucking nuts because life is going to be fucking nuts sometimes. And you're going to be like, got to throw it in a towel to all of the things that you've been working so hard on. And you don't, but you have to be kind to yourself and recognize that you're going to have to maybe change things up a little bit when life gets crazy because it will. It's gonna. There's a lot of talk in the world about work-life balance and things along that line. And I'm going to share with you that I do love that word, balance. But in my world, what I've experienced at different times, sometimes your triangle of balance might be a little bit off. And it might be when you're working and you're raising kids and you're caring for elderly parents and you've got all that going on. That was me say 10, 12 years ago. I did not have work-life balance. I had a shitstorm going on, and I just had to find ways to manage through that time. And so I want to share with you some of the things that I recommend when life is really nuts, just to kind of keep going. And then I'm going to share with you how to dial in to your thing. And that thing is you, your big, beautiful life, and how you want to create it for you. So when life is crazy and you feel like I don't have a moment to breathe, I invite you to savor in the little things. Like when you're having your coffee, sip that coffee. Like only, like for whatever, how long does it take to drink a cup of coffee? Like 10 minutes? I don't know. 20 minutes? I don't know. How long does it take to drink a cup of coffee? But take the first few sips and just savor it. If it's in the drive-through, if it's in your kitchen, if it's at work because somebody made work coffee, take a moment just to taste it. I was working with a client today and she hit a little milestone. And before we went on to the next part of her routine, I said, can we just stop here for a minute? I want you just to feel this moment. And I explained to her what I was getting at, and I wanted her to feel that, celebrate that little moment. So when life is crazy and busy, I want you to just slow down and savor those small moments when you can. So whether it's those first few sips of coffee, today with a client, I had her just relish in the idea that she did something. She accomplished something in her workout that she hadn't been able to do before. And before we carried on to the next, I just said, just feel that. Feel that for a moment. So another thing that I did when life was crazy and busy and I didn't have time to always do all the things, I did pour into myself. And I have kept, well, you guys know I love a journal. I do. I love them. I love writing in them. I love looking at them. I love reflecting. And so when life is crazy, if you can take, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes at the end of the day to write down, get yourself, I have one journal here in front of me. This is one of my journals. I have several journals, but if you can just take a moment to write down just some of the, what do I got here? Some of my great work highlights. Oh, this was when I was in Thompson, you guys. So I'll share with you a reading out of here. I'll read what I can. Some of it has people's names, so I don't want to say their names. But I was working at the time, many different jobs, and I was working at a place called the Addictions Foundation of Manitoba. And it said, I feel so lucky to share with people who are struggling my love of life and my love of exercise. It can be a way out. I wrote that. And then I worked at a place called Juniper Center, and I said in my book, I love them so much. When I walk in the door, they just scream my name, and they're so excited to move. And then I worked at the Northern Spirit Manor, and on this particular day, one of the gentlemen in the group rocked out to AC/DC. This was a nonverbal man, and he was a younger fellow, and he rocked out with me to AC/DC, and it was like he came to life. I worked at a place called Rotary. I worked a lot of places, you guys. So we're going to talk about work-life balance. My life was very full and very busy, but I'm very fortunate that way. My work has always brought me so much joy. So at Rotary, I love my work at Rotary. Today, one of the ladies shared with me that after exercising for 6 months, she is now able to take a bath. She wasn't able to get into the tub before. And I worked at a place called Harmony House. And while there, I just wrote down what a sweet and caring group of humans. And then I was working at Valet. That's a big mine up in Thompson. It was a contract that I was on. And I just wrote here that the crew makes me feel very welcome. So kind. So anyways, I journal. I love journaling. That was a long journal entry. When you're feeling like life is crazy, getting out though a journal and just jotting down 2 or 3 things that are going well. It will give you that fuel on those days that kind of just feel a little bit heavy to just carry on and keep going. So that's another practice that I loved to do. For me, I was very fortunate that I've always had a very strong physical practice of moving my body. Now, what I would recommend to a person who doesn't have a routine to move your body, take a walk 10 minutes after one of your meals. Just pick one of them and go for a 10-minute walk, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or supper. And it's just going to help with digestion. It's going to help you feel good. And it's going to keep that little promise to yourself that you're trying to do your best to fill your cup. And if that's all you got is 10 minutes, get out and do that 10 minutes for yourself. It'll feel so good. No matter where you are, you can just take that meal in, clean up later. Just leave everything, get out, get some fresh air. If you do it outdoors, it's even better. So get some fresh air, take a 10-minute walk. Just get out of those surroundings for a moment. Now, when we're talking about going all in on yourself, something that I shared in the last episode was the idea and the thought process behind the thought that what if you took the approach that what you're about to embark is going to work for you? Rather than showing up going, oh, here we go, I'm going to try this again. No, you're going to change the way you go at it. You're going to change it. You're going to flip that feeling on its ass, and you're going to say, this is going to. This is going to feel good. I am going to get stronger. Now, of course, I'm talking about working on yourself. And most of us need a physical activity program. I'm just going to say it. Like most people would benefit from moving their body physically every single day. And whatever that looks like for you. I love lifting, and I do love the benefits of lifting on my muscles, my mind, and my bones. So I do love that feeling. I love also teaching it. So I love sharing that. But when you're working on yourself, get very excited about the transformation that's going to take place. And not just a physical transformation, but how you're going to show up in life, how you are going to feel. You're going to feel more confident. You're going to show up in life with energy. You're going to be that person that people go, wow, you got a lot of energy. Where do you get that energy from? And that's because you've been working on you. You've made yourself that project. I really, really invite you to make yourself this beautiful project that you're going to work on and figure you out. Figure out what music you love and listen to that. Figure out what scents you like what smells you like. Have more of those around you. Figure out what clothing feels good and wear more of that. I know these are silly, they might sound like silly little things, but damn it, it makes a difference when you start to do these things for yourself. And when you start making these things show up every day for yourself, it feels beautiful. Now, I talk a lot about consistency on this podcast. I also want to share with you that having connection to that consistency is huge. Okay. Like if we're merely just going through the channels. So I've been studying a little bit in the last few weeks about rituals and habit. Okay. So rituals bring you a little bit more connected to your inner self. Habits are those things that we can do. Well, like brushing teeth, combing hair, those are like habits that we have in our body. Now, this is twofold. I think they're both important. Okay. What rituals will do, though, is they're going to connect you to that place where you need to get that consistency in your life. So rather than just exercising to exercise, if you can connect at a deeper level why exercise is important to you, you then might start to show up for yourself differently than if you just think it's something you have to do. When we flip it to something you get to do and something that is going to be so beneficial to yourself and all of those who you love and live with, like spend time with. When you can connect at a deeper level, it becomes ritual, like a ritual type feeling versus a habit. Like I said, they go kind of hand in hand. And so there's certain things that I do. Okay, let's look at it this way. When it's a ritual, my ritual in the morning is to wake up, get my feet on the ground, usually go pee, walk to the kitchen, start to make some coffee. I open up my blinds, even when it's like, well, I don't do it when it's like middle of winter, because if I opened up my blinds, I live in an apartment, and then all of a sudden the people across the way can see in my place. So if it's dark, I then turn on a couple of nice lights. Right now, Christmas tree lights go on, and I just get Charlie taken care of, and I just sit, listen to a podcast. That's been my thing that I just love doing, and journal. And that's my morning ritual. Now, on the days when life is busy, I will do some of those things, and that's then the habit. I can do all those things. I wake up, I make coffee, I go pee, I make coffee, I go either open the blinds or turn on the lights and do a podcast. But some days I feel more into it. Other days I know I'm doing it out of habit. Okay? And both are great. Both were getting things done. I was sharing with a couple of girlfriends that lately my workouts have felt like habit. And I wasn't enjoying my workouts. I love when I'm working out with my crew on my Zoom calls. I love it. Love it. But sometimes when I'm by myself, I haven't felt connected to my movement. And so I've been going through the motions. And because it's a habit, I do it, but I haven't been feeling that same beautiful connection. So I've been consistent without the connection. And I've done that at different periods of my life, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you can get the connection along with it, it just feels so good to go to that deeper level. So that is now when you're working on you and your health, movement is gonna be a part of it, you guys. Like, I work in a retirement home, and you know that. I share about that all the time. And today, again, I get stories every single day when I'm working. And today, another gentleman came up to me with a victory. He hasn't been able to tie his own shoes in years, because he couldn't bend over to tie his shoes up. He couldn't lift his leg up high enough to tie his shoe. He had to wear slip-ons for the last, I don't know how long, well, many years, he said. And he bought himself a pair of tie-up shoes. Do you remember when you're a little kid and you went from Velcro and you got to tie your own tie-up shoes? It was a big deal. Like, it was a big deal. Well, imagine this gentleman in his 80s coming to tell me that he got to buy tie-up shoes because of the physical activity he's doing consistently. And I know they feel connection because we curate this in our community. We curate connection. So when they come, I am not the instructor that's just going to sit there and go 1, 2, 3. No, I am sharing stories. I've got them engaged. I've got them on the edge of their seat. They're so ready for what's coming next. They share stories with me about their families, about how they're feeling, how strong they're getting. And today, a story about tie-up shoes. Like, come on. This is beautiful stuff. Now, he's 80 some years old, and you're listening to this. Maybe you're in your 20s, maybe you're in your 30s, and you're like, I need this. I need to get moving. And you do. And I'm telling you right now, it's never too late. It's never too early to begin. So if your project is you, I want you to consider that. Now, this big messy button is on YouTube. Also, you'll find on my YouTube page some workouts there. So you can go and get started with some of the workouts that are there. And I just dropped a video that's going to be airing today or tomorrow, and it's a tutorial. It's a tutorial for you to go and learn a couple of basic moves, and I put together a very easy 10-minute program that you can do on repeat, okay? But if you are just stuck and you are just starting and you're feeling overwhelmed, check it out. I just put it up there. It's called Home is Medicine. If you go find it there, you'll see it there. But I am about to teach a fitness class. It is 5:26 on Monday. This is coming to you on Wednesday morning. This is your hump day. This is your weekly reminder to do you the way that you want to. And keep going for it. You know, like if you've had a pitfall and you feel like you've had a setback, get back into the game. Just start one foot in front of the other. You've got this. Did I do everything I wanted to share? Did I do everything? Did I share everything I wanted to share? I always come with notes, you guys. And so the top of my notes, it says, make it happen. This one here happens to say, fucking nuts. Do your gratitude, breathe, walk 10 minutes, and there you go. You guys, this was episode 49 of The Big Messy Bun. I'm going to ask you, because I ask you guys all the time, please share this, hit subscribe. We're trying to figure out how all this works here on Podcast World, but I do know that when there's more subscriptions, it doesn't cost you anything. I'm not earning a dime, but what this is doing is helping our show grow. That I do know. So hit the follow, share the show, and we'll see you next week.